My name is Kelly, and I'm 23 years old. I live with my parents and my younger sister, Lauren, who's 16. These days, Mom and Dad work long hours at the local factory just so we can pay the bills. But life wasn't always like this. When I was younger, things were very different. My parents used to run a successful business, and we lived in a big, beautiful one-story house. It had a porch that went all the way around, and I loved sitting there dreaming about the future. I still remember the smell of the roses from Mom's garden and Dad's laugh during our game nights in the big living room. Everything started to change when I was 17. The business began to fail. One bad month turned into another, and soon we were deep in debt. The first thing we lost was the house. I remember the day we moved out. Lauren was skipping down the driveway, not knowing we weren't ever coming back. She was only 11 then, too young to understand why we now had to live in a small, rented apartment instead of our nice home. I got a part-time job at Larry's Cafe after school, serving coffee and sandwiches to people who used to come to our house for parties. It felt strange, but we needed the money. Mom and Dad both got jobs at the factory too, but even with that, the money wasn't enough because of the debt and our daily costs. While I was getting used to eating instant noodles and wearing secondhand clothes, Lauren was living a totally different life. She'd come home from school asking for new phones, name-brand clothes, and big birthday parties. And somehow, Mom and Dad always said yes. "She's too young to understand," they'd tell me. "We don't want her to feel left out. But can we even afford this?" I'd ask, watching them charge another thing to their already maxed-out credit card. "Don't worry about it, Kelly," Mom would say, brushing Lauren's hair. "She just needs time to adjust." But how could Lauren adjust to a life she didn't even know had changed? While I was counting every penny and working extra hours, Lauren acted like nothing had changed. Getting that college scholarship felt like winning the lottery. I still remember the day the acceptance letter came. Mom and Dad hugged me, and even Lauren looked a little impressed, though she quickly went back to playing with her new iPad. "You've always been the smart one," Dad said, his eyes shining with pride. It was one of the rare times I felt noticed. Usually it was all about Lauren. College was hard, but it was worth it. While other students complained about student loans, I felt thankful every day for the scholarship that paid for my education. I studied business because I wanted to help my parents rebuild the life we had lost. When I graduated, I already had a job waiting for me at Jeremy and Associates, a well-known company in our town. The pay wasn't amazing, but it was enough to help my family. I decided to stay at home to save money, and also because I knew my parents still needed help with their debts. But not everything was easy. While I stopped shopping and eating out to help with bills, Lauren's spending only got worse. One evening, I came home tired after a long day at work. I hadn't eaten all day, and my stomach was growling. I opened the fridge and saw only condiments and a half-full carton of milk. "Mom, what's for dinner?" I asked, already expecting bad news. "Oh, honey, we're a bit short this week," she said from the living room. "Maybe we could order pizza?" That's when Lauren came bouncing down the stairs, wearing what looked like a brand new designer jacket. The price tag was still on it, $500. $500. That could have bought groceries for 3 weeks. "Where did that jacket come from?" I asked, trying to keep my voice calm. "Isn't it cute?" Lauren spun around. "Olivia and Janet both have one, and Mom said I could get it too." "Mom, are you serious?" I turned to her. "We don't even have food, but Lauren gets another jacket." "Kelly, please," Mom said, with that tone I hated. "Lauren has to fit in at school. You know how teenagers are." "Yeah, Kelly," Lauren added, rolling her eyes. "You don't get it. All my friends have the newest stuff. Do you know how embarrassing it is to be the only one without new phone or clothes?" I wanted to scream. I wanted to tell Lauren what real embarrassment feels like wearing the same clothes to work over and over because every dollar I made went toward paying off our family's debt. But I didn't say anything. I just stood there, hungry, watching her smile at herself in the hallway mirror. "We need to talk about what really matters," I said, looking at my parents. "We can't keep living like this." "Lauren needs to understand. She needs to fit in with her friends," Dad interrupted, not even looking up from his newspaper. "You know how mean kids can be." All those rich girls at her school and their fancy stuff. I gave up. What was the point? I couldn't win against Lauren's tears and my parents' never-ending excuses. While I tracked every cent I spent, Lauren's friends kept showing off their latest gadgets and clothes, and my parents kept trying to keep up, even if it meant we had no food. It all started with $3,000. I kept the money in my wallet hidden behind my driver's license. It was my emergency fund, money I'd saved slowly, $1 at a time. One morning, I opened my wallet to add $150 for my paycheck, and the money was gone. Just gone. My hands shook as I dumped my wallet out onto the bed. I checked every pocket, again and again. But deep down, I already knew. I'd seen Lauren looking at my wallet the day before, when I left it on the kitchen counter while I was making dinner. Lauren. I marched into her room without knocking. Did you take money from my wallet? She looked up from her phone, her eyes wide like she was shocked. What? No. How could you even say that? $1,000 is missing, I said. And you're the only one who... I can't believe you, she shouted. Tears started pouring down her face, making her mascara run. How dare you accuse me of stealing? I'm your sister. Her crying brought Mom running. What's going on? She asked. Kelly thinks I stole money from her. Lauren cried, throwing herself into Mom's arms. She hates me. She always has, because you love me more. Mom gave me that same disappointed look I'd seen so many times before. How could you say that about your sister? She asked. I just stood there, watching Lauren cry like she was in a movie. And for a second, I actually started to doubt myself. Maybe I had lost the money. Maybe I had spent it and forgot. Maybe someone at work had taken it. After that, I stopped using cash. I only used my card from then on. No more missing money, no more questions. Problem solved, or at least I thought so. Then came the dress. I was doing laundry when Lauren walked through the front door, smiling and wearing what looked like a designer dress, something super expensive, the kind of dress that costs more than our rent. Where did that come from? I asked, my arms full of wet clothes. Oh, this old thing, she said, spinning around as the dress swished around her legs. I've had it forever. Mom? Dad? I called out. Did you buy Lauren another expensive dress? They looked confused. Dad frowned. No, we didn't buy her any dress. That's when the alarm bells went off in my head. Where was a 16-year-old getting designer clothes from? The possibilities made me feel sick. Was she shoplifting? Hanging out with the wrong people? Selling drugs? That night, I sat at my desk, all kinds of scary thoughts running through my head. Then I remembered something, my card. With shaky hands, I logged into my bank account and asked for a detailed statement for the past month. 3 days later, the email came, and 3 charges jumped out at me. $1,000 at JCPenney. $1,200 at Barney's, New York. $1,700 at Bergdorf Goodman. Each one showed the items bought: a size 6 dress, a medium blouse, size 7 shoes, Lauren sizes, her favorite brands, her new clothes. My stomach turned. She hadn't just taken cash from my wallet, she'd been using my card all along. That new dress? It wasn't from a sketchy place. It was paid for with my money. I found her in her room, trying on one of the outfits. One of my outfits, really, since I paid for them. Nice dress, I said, standing in the doorway. Bergdorf Goodman, right? About $1,700. She froze for a second, but then kept her cool. What are you talking about? Stop pretending, Lauren, I said. I have the credit card statement right here. I held up the papers. 3 shopping trips, $5,000. All in your size. All from your favorite stores. You're crazy, she said, but her voice was shaky. Really? I asked. Should we call the stores? I'm sure their security cameras got some good video. Maybe of you shopping with my card? Her face went pale for a second, but she quickly snapped back. Whatever. You can't prove anything. Mom. Dad. I yelled. Family meeting. Now. They came into the living room, Dad still in his work clothes, Mom wiping her hands on a dish towel. I laid the bank statements out on the coffee table. Look at this, I said, pointing at the charges. Lauren's been using my credit card. She spent $5,000 on clothes. Kelly, that's a serious claim, Dad said, frowning and adjusting his glasses. Are you sure you didn't just forget? Forget spending $5,000? On clothes in Lauren's exact size. I interrupted. Really, Dad? Mom picked up the papers and squinted at the list. Well, even if, and I'm not saying she did, but even if Lauren used your card, she's going through a tough time. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Are you serious right now? Teenagers make mistakes, Mom said, patting Lauren's hand. It's part of growing up. Remember when you were her age? When I was her age, I wasn't stealing thousands of dollars from my own family. I said, my voice rising. Don't be so dramatic, Kelly, Mom sighed. If it really was Lauren and we're not saying it was, maybe we can just think of it as an early birthday present. I stared at her in shock. A birthday present? I said. She stole from me. This is credit card fraud. Now you're just making it sound worse than it is, Mom said, waving her hand like it was nothing. Lauren's in a tricky stage. Her friends have nice things, and she wants to fit in. You should try to be more understanding. Understanding. I felt like I was going crazy. She took $5,000 from me. Kelly, Dad said finally, your mother's right. You're blowing this out of proportion. Just let it go. Lauren sat there the whole time, a little smirk on her face. She knew she had won. She always won. You don't understand what you're doing, I shouted, my throat tight with frustration. This isn't just about the money anymore. If she's stealing from her own family now, what's next? She could get into real trouble. There it is, Dad said, shaking his head. You're just jealous. You've always been jealous of your sister. I let out a bitter laugh. Jealous? Jealous of what? Being a thief? Being spoiled? See? Mom said, motioning toward me. That's what jealousy looks like. You hate that we give Lauren nice things. That night, I couldn't stay in the house another second. The walls felt like they were closing in, and every look from my family felt like a knife in my back. I grabbed my keys and drove off into the night, not even sure where I was going. Eventually, I ended up in front of Julie's apartment. She'd been my closest friend since we started working together, and right then, I needed someone who could actually see the truth. Julie's place always felt safe. She let me in without asking questions and listened without judgment while I told her everything. I told Julie the whole awful story, the stolen money, the credit card charges, and how my parents refused to hold Lauren accountable. The wine Julie poured helped me calm down a little, but it didn't take away the pain of feeling betrayed by my own family. This is crazy, she said when I finished. Your sister needs a serious wake-up call before she ends up in real trouble. I've tried everything, I said with a sigh. But my parents just keep making excuses for her. Julie was quiet for a moment, slowly swirling her wine. Then she said, You know, my Uncle Peter is a police officer. Maybe he could help. I looked up. What do you mean? He could stop by your house and talk to your sister. Give her a scare, let her see this isn't just some little mistake. He's done it before for other families. Sometimes kids need to feel the consequences before they learn. Over the next 3 days, we planned everything carefully. It had to feel real. Lauren had to believe this was serious, that she was in real trouble. We chose a night when the whole family would be home. Dinner time. That evening, we all sat at the dinner table like it was a normal night. Mom had made lasagna, and the smell filled the house. Normally, it would have felt warm and comforting, but I could barely eat, knowing what was coming. As usual, Lauren took over the conversation, completely unaware that her world was about to change. When the doorbell rang, Lauren jumped up. I'll get it, she said, probably thinking it was one of her friends. But standing on the porch was Officer Jeremy, his uniform neat, his badge shining under the porch light. Lauren froze. Her face went pale, and she backed away from the door, nearly tripping. What's going on? Mom asked, rushing to the door, with Dad right behind her. I called them, I said, standing up. My voice was calm, even though my heart was racing. Someone stole $5,000 from my credit card. I want to know who did it. Officer Jeremy stepped into our living room. The whole room went quiet. His presence brought a serious, heavy feeling none of us could ignore. Lauren dropped onto the couch, already crying. Our parents stood nearby, looking shocked and unsure of what to do. Miss Lauren, Officer Jeremy began, his voice calm but firm, we have strong evidence of credit card fraud linked to this address. Store receipts, video footage, and witness statements all point to you. Lauren's sobs got louder, but Officer Jeremy didn't stop. I've seen cases like this before, Officer Jeremy said. Good kids from good families who thought stealing just a little was no big deal. Do you know where most of them ended up? He paused and let the question hang in the air. Lauren shook her head slowly, mascara running down her cheeks. There was one girl about your age, he continued. She started by stealing from her family too. Thought it didn't matter. Just last month, I had to arrest her for grand theft. Now she's facing real jail time. He leaned in a little. Is that what you want, Lauren? Mom tried to interrupt, but Officer Jeremy held up his hand. Ma'am, your daughter needs to understand how serious this is. Credit card fraud is a real crime. Right now, we can keep this in the family if the money is returned and this behavior stops immediately. But if it continues... He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't have to. I stood in the doorway, watching as Lauren finally realized what she'd done. The weight of her choices hit her hard. For once, she had to face real consequences. When Officer Jeremy left, I thought my parents would finally understand. Maybe they'd see I was only trying to protect her. I couldn't have been more wrong. The second the door closed, Mom spun around to face me, angrier than I'd ever seen her. How dare you, she screamed. Her face was red with rage. How dare you bring the police into this house? I stepped back, shocked. Mom never swore. She's 16, she shouted. She's just a child, and you called the police on her? What kind of monster are you? I was trying to help her, I said, my voice shaking. She needed to see. You weren't trying to help anyone, Mom snapped. You're just jealous. You've always been jealous of Lauren. You're nothing but a selfish, ungrateful piece of trash. Dad, who hadn't said a word until then, stepped forward. His voice was quiet, but cold as ice. Get out. Get out of this house. You're no daughter of mine. No daughter of mine would do this to her sister. I looked at them. My mother's twisted face full of anger, my father's calm rejection, and Lauren's smirk behind her fake tears. And suddenly, I felt calm. The next morning, I packed my life into boxes and suitcases. It's strange how 18 years of memories can fit into such a small space. Each thing I packed reminded me of something: my high school graduation photo, the mug I used every morning for coffee, the blanket Mom gave me for Christmas years ago. I left that blanket behind. Lauren stood in her doorway watching as I carried boxes to my car. She didn't offer to help, and I didn't ask. Mom and Dad had already left for work. Neither of them said goodbye. The silence in the house was louder than any words. Finding an apartment wasn't hard. My job at Jeremy and Associates paid well enough for a small one-bedroom place across town. It wasn't fancy, but it was mine. No stolen credit cards. No family drama. No guilt. Just quiet. During that first month, I started building a new routine. I bought secondhand furniture, figured out which grocery store had the best deals, and learned which neighbors smiled back when I said hello. It wasn't perfect, but it was peaceful. Then, one normal Saturday evening, my phone lit up. Mom was calling. Kelly, she said. Her voice was softer than it had been the last time we talked. Your father and I have been talking. We forgive you for what happened. I almost laughed. They forgave me? We want you to come home, she continued. And, well, we need help with the loan payment this month. Things have been tight since you left. That old, heavy feeling of guilt tried to creep in. But this time I didn't let it. No, I said. You don't get to call me names, throw me out, treat me like I'm nothing, and then ask for my help. I'm done. Kelly, please. I hung up. Then I blocked her number. I blocked Dad's and Lauren's too. It felt awful, but also freeing. Then came the emails, urgent messages about late payments and money problems. I blocked those too. Next came the social media messages. From family, friends, distant relatives, anyone they could get to speak for them. Each message talked about family, forgiveness, and how I should help. I blocked them all. They even showed up at my office one Sunday morning. I watched from the third-floor window as they stood in the lobby, arguing with security. I had already told the guards not to let them up. Dad looked older than I remembered, like the weight of their money problems was dragging him down. Mom was crying, making a scene, classic mom. I turned away from the window and went back to my desk. I had contracts to review, meetings to attend, a life to live. A life that was finally, truly mine. 7 months have passed since then. It's been 7 months since I last spoke to my family. My small apartment feels like a real home now. It's filled with plants, books, and a kind of peace I didn't know I needed. Sometimes, when I'm curled up on my secondhand couch with a cup of tea, watching the sunset through my window, I wonder how they're doing. Julie keeps me updated, even though I never ask her to. She still lives nearby and runs into my family once in a while. Last week, she told me Dad has taken a second job at the hardware store. He works evenings and weekends now. The thought of him, already tired from years at the factory, spending his nights stocking shelves makes my chest feel heavy. He's working himself to the bone because they can't keep up without my help. The bank is trying to help them with their loan, but it's tough. Mom's been going to the branch office in tears, trying to get sympathy. But banks don't care about crying moms or teenage daughters who want expensive clothes. They care about money, and my parents are running out of options. Their lifestyle has changed a lot since I left. No more shopping sprees for Lauren. No more new phones or designer outfits. Julie told me she saw my sister wearing the same clothes twice in 1 week, something that would have never happened before. Part of me hopes this is finally teaching her a lesson, something my parents never did. But honestly, I'm not sure. Sometimes, especially late at night when everything is quiet, guilt creeps in. I think about Dad, his rough hands from years at the factory, now working late at the hardware store instead of resting. I think about Mom, who, no matter what, is still my mother. And yes, I even think about Lauren, who's only 16, still a kid in many ways, shaped by years of being spoiled. But then I remember the night they threw me out. I remember Mom calling me trash, Dad saying I wasn't his daughter, and Lauren smiling behind her fake tears. I remember all the years I gave everything and got nothing in return. I was treated like an ATM, not a daughter. The guilt I used to feel is now gone. In its place is a strong need to protect the peace I've finally found. Some friends tell me I should try to make up with my family. They say family is family no matter what. But they don't understand. Making peace takes effort from both sides. It means admitting what went wrong. My parents still think they didn't do anything wrong. They just want me back so they can ask for money again. As for Lauren, she probably hasn't thought about me at all, except maybe when she misses her endless shopping budget. Maybe one day things will be different. Maybe Dad will realize that always defending Lauren hurt more than it helped. Maybe Mom will understand that real love isn't about buying expensive clothes or maxing out credit cards. Maybe Lauren will grow up and understand what she lost when she broke my trust. Maybe they'll miss me for me, not for what I can give them. But until that day comes, I'm building my own life. I got a promotion at work last month. I'm even thinking about buying a place instead of renting. I'm learning who I am without my family's demands weighing me down. And I'm learning something else too. It's possible to miss people and still know you're better off without them.